Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, talking comics, movies, TV, and pop culture. Just a reminder, you just saw the commercial, and I mentioned it last segment, that the Sire is on Indiegogo right now. Go to SireStudiosInc.com/evil, and you can check out our Sire Evil variant as seen on the hit CBS TV show last week. That was my big TV news. I guess the big one this past week, though, was the final trailer of Star Wars Episode 9, and we give it our trailer, truth, or trash. Hassan, your thoughts on what you saw Monday night at halftime. Did you end up watching the football? Did you watch the ball game to sift through it?
No. I did not.
Most of Twitter, as I was sifting through Twitter, it was just like, wow, football. And clearly my timeline of people are your people.
I'm not a sports guy, period.
Yeah. So
as my physique should tell everybody.
They really harped on the nostalgia. We've mentioned in previous episodes the idea of pandering and this and that. This one was a shout out to the fans. This trailer was.
Yeah, I think they had to because of. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of even the people who really like these movies have felt that there's a substantial amount missing from these movies in conjunction with the other two trilogies.
Yeah.
Emphasis really on the droids. Emphasis on some of the keynote characters. Definitely the R2-D2 is completely sidelined this entire trailer. I mean, like literally R2 was an absolute hero. He was baller in the first two trilogy, especially in the prequels.
Yeah.
Where they had him flying around. I mean, a lot of people hated that, but I mean they had him doing like way more than he was able to do. And that's just because the CG had made it possible for them to do more with it. But and in this, like, he was under a tarp in the Force Awakens, and then he was kind of just on the Millennium Falcon to say hello to Luke in the Last Jedi. And it was like, all right, I understand you want to make way for BB-8. And new droids, and Poe Dameron's going to have his own droid. Everybody has their own droid. That's great.
But that inherently is the problem with these sequel trilogies. The sequel trilogy in of itself is that you're literally telling two stories, in that you're introducing all these new characters, but you're also telling this complete story of the second one. So it could have been done. It's just the same argument that we were having before. It's just marketing and whatever. And when you start to design your story off of how you're going to market your story, instead of designing your marketing off of the story that you've written, you're going to get what we have now. Now, look, I don't really like the sequels, but I am done trashing them. I don't think they're terrible movies. I don't think they're bad movies at all. I don't think they're. Well, I don't think The Last Jedi is very good. I don't think that was very good.
I just don't think it's a good story. I will stick to my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
My wheelhouse is these are not good stories.
Yeah.
Right. So okay. That said, the trailer looks really good. I'm finally intrigued as to see how this all kind of wraps together. There's certain things I want to happen. Wraps up, but
do you know what's really funny? What I thought was really funny in the trailer is that, like, it kind of starts out with this ominous, and you got the Emperor and talking about all this, or whatever it is. And there's just one scene where everyone just kind of like gets into the Millennium Falcon and just sits down. So, okay.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
And I'm really like that. You needed that for the trailer? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, no, but I'm not going to complain. The trailer was really good. The trailer was really good. The trailer's what I'd hoped for.
I liked Finn riding a space horse.
That's okay. Luke rode a space, whatever a tauntaun was. It's okay.
Oh, yeah,
it happens.
Yeah.
They showed Rose. Rose is alive. Rose lives.
That stupid Rose. She gave the one thing that Finn had going for him in Last Jedi. Was this wonderful arc that she ruined instead of letting her.
They'll pick it up. I have a strong feeling that everybody's going to get their due in this movie because I think one of the good things about it is because there was no set story, they're able to course correct. You know? And
they will. J.J. Abrams will.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a George Lucas story,
what do you think J.J. Abrams? What do you think J.J. Abrams' reaction?
If it was a George Lucas story, you'd be SOL. He'd be like,
right.
I'm doing it what I want. I don't give a damn about
what do you think J.J. Abrams' honest reaction to Last Jedi was? You know, because what J.J. Abrams basically did in Force Awakens was like tee up.
I don't think he's. I don't get an impression. I get the impression that J.J. Abrams, and I'll never work with him. After I say this,
never know.
Is a Hollywood guy. His father. I mean, he's a son of Hollywood people. He was born into the lifestyle.
Yeah.
I don't think he takes things. I don't think he approaches things as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he makes things.
Right.
He's a movie. I think he looks at himself as a director and a movie maker. Not a writer.
Yeah, I agree.
Or storyteller. And there's a difference between it. So I think he gets it. I made that movie and then I'm done. I made my statement and I'm done. And then they came along and they made it better or they made it worse. And now Disney calls him like, JJ, you gotta come back here and fix this. And he's like, okay, if you want me to, here's my price and I'll come back and I'll fix it my way. I don't get the impression from him that he is some kind of, that he holds any kind of emotional attachment to the work that he's done. Because look how easily he walked away from Star Trek.
Yeah. But
he
was never, that was the whole thing though.
And I mean, the best of the Star Trek movies was the third one. Yeah. But that's what I'm talking about. He's able to
supposedly was a Star Wars guy, though. See, supposedly Star Wars is where his heart has always.
But his Star Wars wasn't all that much better.
No, it wasn't.
His first Star Trek. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Regardless of the passion, doesn't really have anything to do with it with him. Right. He's a craftsman, right? He's gonna like the guy who makes your chair, right? He makes damn good chairs, but he doesn't have any. I made that chair. All right, you sit in it. I sat in that chair for 20 years. It broke. Can you make me another one? Okay. That's not like that chair. I went to the ends of the Amazon jungle and chopped down the oldest tree for the wood for that chair. He doesn't. That's not his connect to it. So I don't get an impression that He didn't react the way Rian Johnson did.
No.
Rian Johnson had a visceral reaction to his stuff, which poured gasoline on the fire. Right. So J.J. Abrams was like, "Look, man, you like it, you don't like it. I got paid. I'm out. I'm making my next thing." I don't think he doesn't care. There's a very big difference.
Sure,
but I just don't think he's got an emotional investment into these things. So I don't. And then didn't he come out and say, although, like I said, this is a Hollywood thing, didn't he come out and say that he really wished he was directing The Last Jedi because he read the script and it was amazing? That was what he pretty much said after The Force Awakens dropped and made $2 billion. And now he's going about his routine of building up the next chapter for the franchise that he's part of. That's kind of the way the system works, right?
Standout scene in this, and this ties into what you're saying.
Segue.
Rey and Kylo Ren trashing Darth Vader's remains. I thought that's what that looked like.
Which probably means Kylo's going to get redeemed. Yeah, for Kylo.
It strikes me as anti-J.J. Abrams to show that in a trailer, considering from the naked eye, it looks like something that is very obviously happening, just like you said, it goes against JJ's MO.
Maybe
Right?
so. I think they would have been brave if they kept Kylo evil.
I hope they do. I don't.
I just don't.
I don't need a redeeming.
Will.
No, they won't. You're right. They won't. But I don't need a redeeming arc for him. I don't need to see the same thing again.
I just don't think that they. I don't think we're going there with that. I could be wrong. And hey, I'll be happy about it. I'll come back here to where we are right now and admit I was dead wrong.
That's the part that kills me about all these new movies, is that they really had an opportunity. Instead of everyone sitting there saying like this is the end of the Skywalker saga, it's like, well, no, we had the end of the Skywalker saga, and it was great. It was the the birth of the greatest villain, or arguably the greatest villain of all time, and the redemption of the greatest villain. We had it. We had it in 6 films. And instead of the true completion of the Skywalker saga would have been Luke Skywalker, having some sort of real arc, not being, mitigated to something, to kind of being a secondary character. He's a secondary character if you're starting something else new. The last 3 movies that they did, the last 2 movies plus this one that's coming out, to me could have been the start of your next 6 movie trilogy versus the closing, quote unquote, of the 9 episode trilogy. And that to me, I think is always going to be the greatest.
They chase the money, man. They follow the money. When you do something like Marvel, and you have, you have, what do you want to call it? Like 50 years worth of stories that you can pull from. The job is easy. Yeah. It's not easy, but the job is simple. Stick with the story. Stick with the core story elements of what you're doing. Give people a good show. Yeah. Stick with the material, and the material will take you somewhere, because the guys writing that material knew what they were doing. When you come around and you try to duplicate the MCU with Star Wars, but by bringing in these fledgling writers who all have dubious. And I apologize, guys, but they all have dubious writing credits in the first place.
Don't apologize.
They all learn, they don't have. They're not Chris Claremont. They're not, they're not John Byrne. They don't have these like 40 years worth of experience of storytelling. So, and then they're like, okay, we just want you to tell some really great stories about this thing, but it needs to have a through line, and it needs to, adhere to certain nostalgia points, and also needs to adhere to various points of mythology, and it also needs to adhere to a through line for the last 6 movies. I know. You're gonna give these people that to do. They're gonna fail. Yeah, they're gonna simply fail. You get one, and I'm not even saying you should have gotten Lucas. You get one guy in with an idea. Everybody agrees that's a great idea, and we work to execute that idea, right? And then you have one through line. Then you could build threads on top of it. You could build on top of it. But you can't just have people just jump in and, hey, man, this was the last movie we did. You pick up the story like a game of telephone. You can't do that.
Bringing the Emperor back. Yeah, bringing the Emperor back is a last-ditch effort, which I hope pays off. I really do. I hope it brings some. But I mean,
so other people have said if the Emperor is truly back and it's not an illusion or a delusion or something like that because of where they are, then that means that solidifies the failure of our original characters, our original heroes. Because they failed to kill the Emperor, they failed to destroy the Empire, they failed to reestablish a new republic, they failed as parents, they failed as heroes, they became smugglers and underground generals and whatever Lando is, or recluses on. We don't know what Lando's going to be. We don't know if he's still a rebel general or if he's or recluses on some mysterious island with fish people on it. And it's like, okay, how did this do my characters justice?
Yeah.
It didn't. So fine. That may be stories. Do not come and try to sell me the nostalgia aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're killing these characters off. That's not what you're doing. You're not this is not nostalgia. Okay? So I mean, I get stories move on, characters die, characters change, heroes become villains. That all happens perfectly fine. Do it the right way. I got nothing to say to you about it. But don't murder Han Solo in one movie and then hire another actor to play younger Han Solo and then try to sell me a lame-ass Solo story, after you've just murdered him just for an emotional beat and threw him off a bridge into a bottomless pit. These characters mean something. You paid $4 billion because they meant something.
Yeah.
Treat them like they mean something, and you did. You treated them like all we have to do is show them, and the people will come. And
real
so
fast,
we'll see.
Real fast before we go to break and get into our Watchmen review, which I'm sure will be heated.
Not at
who was
all.
the voice?
I have nothing to say about Watchmen.
Who was the voice? Was that Anakin at the end?
I don't know.
Oh,
maybe.
Nice. Got a little Anakin back.
Maybe.
Well,
we'll see.
We will see, and we'll be doing our Star Wars event in
Everybody
December.
in the world is going to dissect that thing beyond all measure. It'll be like an alien, corpse in a wreckage. Everybody's going to take a scalpel to it.
Yeah, well, we will be doing our Star Wars Spectacular Extravaganza live from Funny Business in Nyack, New York in December. Date and time to be announced because we're taking a vacation, bro. We got 2 weeks off. It's crazy. All right, when we come back, who watched The Watchmen? Turns out everyone did, and everyone's got an opinion. What
I want to feel for Rian Johnson as a creator is that he turned in the most kick-ass Star Wars script that was going to flip the script on the entire saga, and Kathleen Kennedy and everybody else like, no, we can't do this. What else you got? And then he turns into the first draft of the Star Wars fanfic that he did when he was 15 years old. He goes, well, I got this also. And they're like, we'll make this. This is brilliant.
Secrets of the Sire.